Welcome to NEK-TV Rocks, and our guest today is Diane Peel. Diane runs the 99. Tell us about the 99, Diane, how long you've been in existence and what you all do.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having this program, and second of all, for doing the Newport, Vermont Rocks Facebook page, which is the absolute place to go for everything that's happening in Newport. Not only do people post stuff there, but Pam scours all of her contacts for any kind of event. So whatever you're looking for in the community, it's the place to go to stay informed. And then this show is just really helping because it gets to a different audience too. So the 99, I think, has been around for about 4 years. I've kind of lost track. Our group has been around longer, and we didn't have a place for the first year or so, or a couple years, to have meetings and do things, do activities that we wanted to do in the community, and we were very fortunate to be able to have this space now.
How did we, because I've also played with some of this stuff, although I'm not a regular there, how did we, and I've forgotten how the transition from standing outside the fish with signs protesting many of the things that need to be protested, how did that transition happen? How did the 99 move from open space to an indoor space, a community center?
Well, we do still stand out. We are actually going to be doing that. I'm going to put in a plug for Sunday, the 25th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in front of the fish. A member of the community who is a veteran and has worked with homeless people, Leslie, who is very passionate about homeless issues, will be leading a demonstration which we will be passing out some literature and talking about the need for homeless shelter for people. Leslie was rather upset when he heard one of our state lawmakers, or reported to him one of our state lawmakers, seemed to think that homelessness wasn't much of a problem here in the Northeast Kingdom, and that really made him a little upset because he has worked with homeless people. So we do stand out in front of the fish. We're going to be doing that. We don't do it too often, but our basic goal, and it's not just me, it's a group of people that have been working on this for years. Specifically, people that have been with this for years are Jack Rogers and Terry Mosley and Mary Brenner, who's at the shows at the MAC, artist Mary Brenner. Well, we wanted a place where we could actually interact with the community and do more for the community, and have a place where where the community people from the community could come in, get to know each other, work on solving their own problems. So you really have to have a base for that. We started having the block party, before we ever had the 99, and our first year we did it at the community garden, and it was sort of a disaster because it rained like crazy. And Sue Dwelly at the Episcopal Church was so very kind to let us move the whole thing inside and have it there. But at that point we realized, well, we really need a space if we're going to be doing things in the community. And I also needed a space to store my dad's paintings, which I sometimes show. So the idea of a combination gallery in the community center got going. So
this is self-funded. You're not funded by any other organizations
or
by the state?
Funded by me and the generosity of people who donate stuff and money when they can. And that means that we're a little more stable in some ways because we don't have to keep applying for grants. I've been working on grants for the MESH project, so I know how hard it is. And if you're grant funded, then you may lose your grant, and then your program's gone, and you've got put in maybe 1 or 2 years, but you haven't had a chance to gain traction. So we're trying to keep this going privately. It also means that we have no strings attached, and we can do whatever we please. Pretty much. We don't have to, submit reports on what we've been doing or whether we've been meeting somebody else's goals. We set our own goals, and that's a wonderful thing.
Where is the physical location so that anybody who's watching who would like to come in and meet the 99 and its members?
We are located on School Street. We are actually part of the property of 316 Main Street, but we're in the carriage house behind that, across from the Family Dollar in Newport. Very convenient for anyone in the downtown neighborhood.
Sure.
And it's a small space, but we try to, make best use of it. And we have free Wi-Fi. We have computers you can use. The computers get a lot of use. We have one community member for sure who had never used a computer in his life, who is now quite the expert in Google searching on topics that he's interested in, and is now computer literate. And a lot of people come in to use the internet. And we also have a library, probably the best library in Newport, if not maybe the Northeast Kingdom, or Orleans County, of art books.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about to get a donation, another large donation, I've been told, of art books. So if you're an art teacher, art student, and want to come in and check out a book, those are available. And there's nothing nicer than curling up with an art book on a rainy afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
We also have books about culture and society. We don't have novels, but we have a nice library. It's open to everybody.
So if people have donations of quality books, like political content
Right.
and art, they could drop them off there?
Oh, absolutely. If you have read the latest book that's put out by somebody that, made the news on something that's happening in the society of the world, and you just don't want to keep storing these things, be sure to drop it off. and your art books, too.
And magazines.
Magazines, if they're current, and we put a few out. Actually, that people do pick them up and read them.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the newspapers every day, unless I forget to get them. And we have coffee, we have tea. People bring in food and just leave it. Somebody will come in and drop off an apple pie, and it's there, and then
How nice.
somebody else will come in and enjoy the apple pie. So it's basically whatever the people who come in there and participate in it want to do.
One of the projects that I've seen recently, and I know you did last year as well, was about a CSA and using the vegetables, giving them away to introduce people to the pleasure of fresh food.
This is our third year for the 99 Market, which is going to start July 4th. And I was touch and go, truly a miracle this year. I've been raising money, working on grant proposals for the MESH project. I didn't think I was going to have time to work on fundraising for the 99 Market, and people just stepped forward. When I said, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, because to buy 2 shares is a little expensive.
Sure.
And so people just stepped forward and donated money, and we had someone in town, Judith and Bill, who had
my neighbors.
Very neighbors, had a very large yard sale because they're downsizing, and they donated all the money to the 99 Market from the yard sale. And we actually think that maybe next year, if there's anybody else that wants to get rid of junk, and
that's a great idea.
Would just as soon this was on the citywide yard sale day, and we also had a citywide yard sale, participated in that with other donations from all kinds of other people who brought in stuff, and raised money that way, and the money just came together. So we buy vegetables from a small farm in Albany, Piece of Earth Farm. They're organic farmers. I believe they're working on their certification, who couple, very hardworking, and have a lovely little farm and lovely vegetables. And we pick up two large shares every week, and bring it out to the corner on Main Street there, and have it for our neighbors. And the idea is we're not the food shelf, we're not NEK-TV,
Right.
We're not just providing charity so people don't go hungry. That's not the point of the 99. Our goal is to talk with neighbors about the fact that all food does not have to come from 3,000 miles away, that there are local farmers, and and to introduce them to different kinds of vegetables that are in season that they may not have tried, talk about recipes, and to get to know our neighbors, so that's basically the reason for it. So this will be our third year of doing that, and it's been a great way, I think, to connect with the neighborhood. So that's
one of your members, who's a real foodie, I know, has been making soups and other dishes with some of the CSA and sharing those.
We want to do more of that this year.
Yeah.
I do need to get busy on that, on talking with Rebecca at Piece of Earth Farm about what will be available each week, because I think we need, for some of the vegetables that are maybe a little unusual that people haven't tried, we want to have some samples and dishes available so people can try them. I'll also have information on recipes and just in general more educational stuff. And it's fun.
It sounds great. What other projects do you have going right now? I know Mary Brenner teaches an art class there.
Mary's off for the summer. She's going to be traveling this summer, so she'll be resuming her art classes in the fall. And this is a very informal class, watercolors, if you want to come just for a relaxing couple of hours in the afternoon and do some painting. And
I came in one day when that class was happening and was absolutely blown away by the quality of work. And the people who were there said they'd never painted before.
Yeah, people always look at their work, and me included. It's like, watercolors are not particularly easy. And people look at their work and say, oh, that looks awful. But one thing that we found at the end, we had the end of the a year project was Mary did a matting class, and we cut mats and matted and framed one work from people that have been in the class. And once they're matted and framed, you look at them and it's like, wow, that's better than I thought it was. Yeah. And it's really kind of amazing. People can do better than they expect they could do. So we have that class. Pam is there in the winter, more in the winter, but she's still knitting now. But Pam Ruig is very knowledgeable about knitting, and if you're interested in learning knitting or just sitting and having a knitting circle with other people, you can come in on Friday afternoons from 3 to 5.
She knitted me a hat for the Women's March in Montpelier.
She knitted more than one hat.
I bet she did. It was great. and gave them all away. It was wonderful.
But we have, any kind of project you want to learn. And we also have our yearly block party coming up, and I think this is our 6th year for the block party. We have live music from the Michael Hahn Band. We have hot dogs and other picnic food, potato salad and all, that kind of stuff. We have activities for kids and adults. I'm hoping that Peter Lewis will be there again doing caricatures, which is very popular.
He's so talented.
He is very talented. He does great caricatures. Yeah. And all of our events, everything is free. We don't charge money. If you want to give Peter a little tip, that's great, because he's so kind to sit out there and do that for us with his talent. We have button making, and we have a drawing every year for a $50 Vista.
And when is that?
And the block party will be Sunday, September 10th from 3 to 6.
Great.
So
mark your calendars now.
Come by for the live music, and no charge for anything, and socialize with your neighbors. Let's see. We also have a newsletter that we do every month. That goes out to 350 households in the neighborhood, and hand delivered, unfortunately, but the postage is just an added expense, so we don't do that.
That's also available online, right?
It is available online. It's a little hard to read online because it's made, the way I do it, it's made really just to print out as a print publication, but you can read it online. And that does go out to some people in Newport. And the newsletter is of, for, and by people who live in Newport, and specifically for people who live in the downtown residential area. We like to feature people who are volunteering and doing good stuff in their community. We're taking the initiative to do that. We're role models for other people to do that. We like to talk about things that people are. One very popular thing last year was we did a story about Newport's downtown gardeners, and interviewed people who had home gardens, and the gardeners loved that, and it was really a very nice issue. A couple months ago, we had a nice interview with Claudia Ford at the hospital about Medicaid and how it would affect the hospital and residents in this neighborhood who might be using Medicaid. It was a really serious article. We have serious articles and not so serious articles. And I do a column every month about art called Artsy.
Yeah, the last issue was about kids and
last
what
issue
kids
was
were
all
doing.
Kids, because I have been working with the Promise Community Steering Committee, and there's a lot of initiatives right now in Newport for children, because when you get right down to it, children are where it's at. Because problems are hard to fix. Sometimes when people get older, things get ingrained, get complicated.
Are you saying we're rigid?
It's just harder. But children starting from before they're born are really where it's at.
Right.
As far as being able to have people who grow up with good self-esteem, who are competent adults, who get along in their community. That's where you need to...
Quality and nutrition for the parent gives the child such a head start.
That's true. So again, then, if you're going to do stuff for kids, you need to do things for their parents also, because that's the home life, and that's where so you need to be helping them have a better home life. So that's a big initiative that's going on in Newport right now, is really to focus on children. And so we did a children thing, and we did the walk to school, which was fun. I mean, I'm so busy I wouldn't have had a chance to do that, but I love to do that because Pam is one of the people who does that. And it was so much fun, and I would really encourage parents to get involved with that too next fall.
So if you were to fast forward to fall, what's the 99 hoping to do moving forward? Where would you like to be a year from now? And how can we all help make that happen? Because what you're doing is amazing. Your commitment to this is incredible.
And again, I say it's not just me.
No, I know.
People contribute whatever they can, and we have people coming in with Xerox paper all the time, or coffee, or here's $2, put it in the kitty. So other people that are in the neighborhood, everybody helps to the degree they can. Well, this is probably going to sound terrible, but in a year I would like to see us not needed, because we have an actual community center in this town. Right. The function of the 99 is to provide a place where people can come and solve their own problems. They can talk to each other. They can make connections. They can talk about issues that are important to them, and come up with solutions, and get informed about things. And we need a bigger place for that.
Yes.
And we need a real community center. And there are many communities in this state, or even in the Northeast Kingdom, that are building community centers because they have good community support. And a lot of people, have come together, and they work well together, and they're being able to get these things off the ground. And I would just love to see that happen. I think any community center we have could learn from the 99, in that every space. One of the nice things about the 99, I think, is that I try to make it homey.
It is.
It's not institutional. This is not an institution. We are not a charity. We are not a government agency. We're kind of homey, and I think that any community center we have needs to have someone or organized around that idea of making people welcome in a warm, welcome space that helps them to interact in the way that a host might help people at a party kind of get along, interact, chat, kind of deal with little disagreements that might happen. So I think any community center needs that. I hope when we have a community center that will be one of the things that they'll consider, that whole making the space work as a place for people to feel welcome.
One of the other things I've seen that is truly amazing is that from within you've handled all of the challenges, because some of the people who are visiting there, who are coming and who become involved, have a long history of conflict with institutions, understandably, and who have some mental health issues, who have some social issues, and who have many other challenges. But you guys work it all out.
Well, we do. We try to. I have to say that in Newport, and particularly in low-income areas, one of the biggest challenges in general is interpersonal strife. There's a lot of distrust just because of the stresses that people are under. People are under tremendous stress. Right. And when they feel stressed, they don't really always think a little farther beyond, like, well, maybe I'm under stress because it's so hard to get a decent job here and I can't support my family. But that's not where the stress comes out. The stress comes out in blaming the people closest to them, which are their neighbors and their family. Right. So we have this tremendous amount of suspicion and stress, and we have a lot of people with, as you said, mental health issues or health issues, which makes them uncomfortable. And so there's all this stuff that goes on between people. It is important in a public space not to just want to become the police and say, okay, anybody causing trouble, we're going to call the police. We would rather have work on helping people work out their differences. And we do it also with a lot of positive support. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to be told that they're valuable. But I have to say, honestly, we don't always do a wonderful job of it, but we're trying. That's the goal. I wanted to mention one more thing that I forgot to say about what we do there, and that is we do have art shows.
Yes,
we are really a gallery.
And they're fabulous.
We have them every 2 or 3 months, and our one that's still up is Peter Lewis, who is a graphic artist and former graffiti artist, who grew up in Los Angeles, but his family roots are in the Colville Reservation in eastern Washington, or central Washington, and he has a show up now of Native American inspired work that's sort of him getting in touch with his roots, and that'll be up through the end of this month, so you can come in and see that. And we try to feature really local artists. We previously had Manfred Reeder, who lives on
Manfred's work is great.
And his sculptures are wonderful. He is a wonderful artist. So anyway, I just wanted to mention, we do have art shows.
It's important. And you have those wonderful openings.
And we have openings. Yeah. Right. They're shishi affairs. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, I almost dressed.
Come and socialize.
They really are fun. And it's another wonderful way for the community to come in and be involved in something that's so positive.
Yeah. So anyway, I would like to see all that happen on a bigger scale, in a nice space, welcoming, homey space. And to that end, I had some meetings. I guess I'll say, I don't know how much time we have. We're going to run out of time.
4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, so I should quickly say that we have a meeting once a month. It's an organizational meeting, the first Saturday of every month at 2 o'clock at the 99. And that is open to anybody that wants to come and put in their 2 cents worth. And that's where we make decisions about things like the block party, and if anybody has a suggestion for something, an issue that they think needs to be brought to the community's attention. So that's open to anybody. And one of the things that I did, and this was not really an NEK 99% group action, but was just me being frustrated over the need for a bigger community space, is we had some Newport, Vermont Take Charge meetings, and we had 3 of those where people could just come and talk about what they would like to see in the whole, as far as something that would benefit the community. And in addition to having space like the 99 where people could just come and socialize, there was a lot of support for having things there that would promote health in Newport. People that are low income are not unhealthy because they like being unhealthy. They have some unhealthy habits because of extraneous things like poverty and no money and stressors and no access. So we would like to show the world that people in Newport really want to be healthy. That was one thing. The other thing is art. We have tremendously creative people around here, and we would like to see something in the whole that would showcase Newport's artists. And then in addition have a space like the 99 where people could just come and feel welcome. You don't have to have money, you don't have to spend money, you could just be there with your neighbors. You can have your knitting class there if you want, or your poetry recital class or whatever.
So now that it actually looks as though the whole might be available, that it's got a possibility of really being in the hands of the receiver and then sold and presumably developed, this would be a great time to...
It's absolutely a great
some
time
kind of
because as I keep saying, you know, I don't want to go get the newspaper one day and open it up and see, you know, City Council announces that yet another dollar store will be coming to this space.
Right.
Or do we need another pharmacy? I mean, we've got lots of pharmacies.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so I think if we don't get our 2 cents worth in there about what we would like to, the image we really like to project for Newport, is that yes, people here do care about health. We are creative. We have small entrepreneurs. Let's put that stuff in there.
Right.
If we don't do it now, we're going to get
and one of the
walked
things,
all over.
Exactly. And one of the things that would make Newport a really wonderful place to live, it is a wonderful place to live, but would make others see it as that, is if there was that really strong beating heart within.
Right downtown.
Right downtown.
Right downtown.
Yeah.
When people come, they come if they want to come and enjoy the scenic beauty of the waterfront, which is one of our, and the lake, which is one of our biggest assets, and then have a place where they could go in and, oh my God, there's these little small local entrepreneurs who are selling stuff, and I can't get this anywhere else in the world.
Right.
Or look at these great artists, or they have a gym here, and it's something that we can actually afford.
And it may not be a high-tech gym, but who cares?
Well, yeah, we had someone in the community suggested Planet Fitness is a company which has reasonable rates that people on lower incomes might be able to afford.
That would be nice.
It's something we could look into. They have one in St. Albans, so St. Albans is not that much different than us.
Not that much different, and the changes St. Albans worked on is, in theory, what we're doing too, and some of the other local towns as well. Barre is doing something similar.
Right, Barre has working on an art center there, and of course they have that huge big cultural center they're going to put in Greensboro, and this is a time for Newport to say,
I agree.
Community center is for us.
I agree. And on that note, we're about out of time for today. I really hope that people listen to this and come down to the 99. Just drop in, have a cup of coffee, bring some coffee, donate cookies.
Oh, cookies,
donate
that would be
books.
great. Cookies, definitely.
Anything. Just stop in and get to know what there really is happening down here, because there's just so much.
Yeah, definitely. Do that. A lot of people still don't know we're there after this many years, although I think people in the media community are getting to know us a lot better.
And at some point, we'd like to have you back to talk about the Community Mesh project, which we didn't get into today.
No, that's an offshoot
but we
project.
will next time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was fun.